A lot of lopsided games in that NFL wildcard weekend. 5 of the 6 games were lopsided scores, some blowouts there, and it was kind of reflected in the numbers. Every game except for one was down. That other one was flat. Molly, of those wildcard games, which of the numbers caught your attention?
Well, we talked about it last week, Austin, but Amazon had its debut NFL playoff game on that Saturday night. That averaged a little over 22 million viewers for the Ravens Steelers. A little bit of a blowout game, that 21-0 halftime lead.
Those sorts of leads are killers.
It was Prime Video's best audience ever. But it's still down from what you would expect from an NFL game. And then also Sunday night, I know we're going to get into this, but all these games, except for one, were just kind of blowouts. But that Sunday night game with the Commanders Bucks, that 23-20 score on NBC, that was only 29 million, which is down from that 36 million from last year. And that was the only close game.
Yeah, I know our resident producer here, ACY, a big Commanders fan, happy about the result. Not NBC, maybe not as happy about the result of the viewership there. But going back to what you were talking about with Prime Video, Molly, yeah, their first playoff game, it was kind of down slightly, actually, from that first streaming playoff game last season in the wildcard round. That was when Peacock had that game. These are kind of like one-year deals as well. So if you're another streamer out there looking, hey, am I going to bid on that game next time? These are expensive games. It was like $110 million for that Peacock game. Amazon paid in the range of $150 million to get this year's wildcard game. Is this something maybe that Netflix is going to want to get involved in? I mean, they were getting $25 million for their Christmas Day game. Maybe they can drive up that sort of number if they can get a competitive contest.
I definitely could see a Netflix getting involved next year. I mean, look what they did for Christmas. They had Beyonce. Netflix has pretty much unlimited funds. I could see them really wanting to be involved in a playoff.
They've shown they can make it an event for sure. Of the other games, Molly, that really caught my attention was the Monday night game. That was the one, Rams-Vikings, that had to be moved out of Los Angeles to State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. While there were a lot of tributes and there was a lot of motion around that game, the contest on the field just didn't live up to it. It was a blowout. Rams win 27-9. The audience that ESPN got in that Monday night window, not what it had the last 2 seasons. It is only above that first Monday night wildcard window that they tried in 2022. It's important for people to remember, Molly, that in the wildcard round, ESPN, ABC used to have that Saturday afternoon window. They had to strike a separate deal with the NFL to pull that out, get it on Monday night, get a Manning cast as part of it. That's a deal that only has one more year left on it. Like the NFL draft, it's something that, ESPN is going to have to negotiate with the NFL and see if they want to continue that. They are going to want to. Both sides like having that Monday night window. And specifically about that Monday night, the Manning cast. This was easily the least watched Manning cast of those wild card games, under 1 million viewers for the first time. But like you said, it was one of those blowouts, and alt casts in general for high profile games just don't necessarily do as well as they do during the regular season.
Well, I can say the Vikings did not take Rachel Platten singing the fight song before the game to heart because they were not fighting out there.
Well, Molly, let's hope that the NFL games pick it up on the competitive side in the divisional round this weekend. The matchup I'm really looking forward to, Bills, Ravens in that late Sunday window. Which one has your attention?
I would love a Texans upset over the Chiefs. I know a lot of people think that the Chiefs could three-peat it. That's boring. Give me something exciting.
Well, I'm hoping the Chiefs are able to raise the number in that, that Texans 4:30 Saturday window. They own that window. That is where the Texans play, 4:30 on a Saturday. So yeah, putting the Chiefs in there, that might actually be able to pick up that number a little bit. Well, I'm sure, ESPN at first maybe didn't like getting that 4:30 Saturday window. But yeah, getting the Chiefs, getting that national audience. The Chiefs have surpassed the Cowboys as the most watched team in football these days. I guess they get that Taylor Swift boost, that Patrick Mahomes, that Travis Kelce boost. Should give them a good number there at 4:30 on a Saturday.
I definitely think it'll drive it up higher than it usually would.
All right, Molly, let's move down just a little bit to the college level. The CFP semifinals, the viewership numbers, we have the final numbers there. 19.2 million viewers for that doubleheader. Obviously, a little bit of a caveat this season. First of the expanded 12-team playoff. These semifinals, they're usually on the same day. These were Thursday and Friday night as part of that, schedule moving down away from New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, where the semifinals have been since it launched a little over a decade ago. The numbers were a little softer than they were last year and the least watched semifinal since 2021, but pretty solid nonetheless. Molly, you thought that the Ohio State-Texas game on Friday would outdraw that Thursday night Penn State-Notre Dame game. What led you to think that even with a lower number of homes using television on a Friday, that game would outdraw the Thursday night one?
You wouldn't usually expect a Friday game to outdraw that Thursday primetime window. And Penn State is, and Notre Dame, they're very strong brand names, but Ohio State, that fan base, they are loyal. And also, Ohio State is one of the hottest teams in football right now. People are following them. So there was a strong interest in that game. Will I say the better game was Thursday night? I wanted
Definitely.
overtimes. I didn't want that to end. The Ohio State Texas game ended up being a little bit more of a blowout than I expected, honestly.
I thought because of the blowout and because Penn State Notre Dame was such a close game and on the Thursday, I thought they'd be a little closer when the viewership numbers came out. They were closer to 3 million viewers apart. But now we get Notre Dame, Ohio State, two national brands. If you're ESPN, you probably couldn't be happier. The whole CFP layout and the viewership, something we're going to talk about later with ESPN president of content, Burke Magnus, get his insights onto this first season of the expanded playoff. And also related to the college football playoff, because we haven't had that championship yet, and the Australian Open wasn't adjusting their schedule for the CFP, Chris Fowler, who is traditionally called that event and it would have been down under already to be calling those matches, he's not going to get there until January 23rd. That's when the semifinals are. So he's only going to be on the ground there in Melbourne for a couple of days. Just another side effect of this expanded college football playoff. And if you go on social, tennis fans are like, hey, where's Fowler? It stinks that this expanded college football playoff is having an impact on the first major of the year. So just another side note to keep an eye on.
He could have taken a boat there and still gotten there around the same time. What is interesting to me, though, about this game, and we talk about this, as you say, a little bit with Burke, this game on the championship game with two dynamic teams is on a national holiday, and it's going up against some marquee sporting events. So I'm curious what that viewership's going to look like in this first year of the expanded playoff.
It's going to be a really high number with those two brands in particular. It'll be ESPN's most watched event of the year, or one of the most watched events on their airways of the year. That's going to get the ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU Mega Cash treatment. I'd expect a solid number there. Mollie, right after we talked last week, we were saying there might be hope for Venue Sports to launch with that agreement between Disney and Fubo. But just after we filmed last week, they all put the nail in the coffin of Venue Sports. Fox, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Disney all decided we're not going to go forward with this. What was your reaction when you heard the news?
Austin, I'm glad we hedged our bets so that I can go into 2025 saying I was right. But it really does suck that a lot of good people who left good jobs to go join the startup, it just sucks. It sucks when something like that happens. But after Fubo won that first injunction, I didn't see a way forward. You and I didn't see a way forward. And then especially after EchoStar and DirecTV joined the complaints, it became too much of a headache. I was surprised at how quick the turnaround was. And I heard from sources that when the news that the lawsuit was settled came down early last week, the three entities were originally planning to go forward. But after discussion and reflection, it just, especially with Flagship launching, and then we have this new news from DirecTV that just came this week that basically eliminated the need for Venue.
It's essentially Venue Sports. It's Venue Sports plus NBC. So it's a little more expensive, but you're getting probably a little more bang for your buck. It has everything you're going to need if you're like an NFL fan, except for CBS Sports, which is not part of that right now.
Well, CBS Sports has a lot going on right now with potential sale, merger, not being Nielsen measured, but also this My Sports bundle from DirecTV does include like NHL Network, NFL Network. It has pretty much everything except CBS. And it's a very interesting proposition to me. And there are more local RSNs like from ABC, Fox, and NBC that can be added when the agreements are reached with the affiliate. So it's going to get bigger.
Well, ESPN has a lot on the direct-to-consumer front happening, like you mentioned. They have Flagship coming in the fall, and we're going to dig into that with our next conversation, which is with ESPN's Burke Magnus.